Welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news, and it's big game day. So big for Manchester United. I can't comprehend the thought that we could be out of the Champions League tonight, and I don't think you should as well. We've got to be confident, we've got to get through, we've got to be in that Champions League draw on Friday morning with a bit of buzz and excitement for as long as possible. So let's get to it. But it is the news show. Lots to talk about. We're going to be talking about the striker panic situation. Very interesting chat I had with someone this morning about this and how it replicates United's manager panic. We've got the same situation going on with the striker. We'll explain that. More stories about Harry Kane this morning. United have signed a midfielder. We've also got a boost around the Barcelona centre-back that I can't do his second name for. Also, Paul Pogba's 29 today, so we'll be talking about that. Also, we're talking about Gary Neville saying that we should knock Old Trafford down and build a brand new stadium. Interestingly brave. I respect it, Gary, even though I disagree with it. But first of all, we are sponsored by Boohoo Man today. Boohoo Man will always give you 40% off with the code United Stand, remember, but it is a Champions League day and we've got a Boohoo Man question challenge for you. But first of all, Boohoo Man Active is what I'm wearing here. It's all about looking good and feeling great when you're being active. This could be when you're at the gym, going for a walk, or just playing FIFA like me. So because today is a huge game in the Champions League, Boohoo Man want to test the United Stand viewers' Champions League knowledge. So get in the chat and let me know who are Manchester United's top 3 Champions League goal scorers of all time. You get a bonus point if you can give me the amount of the goals, although that will just lead to mass Google searching. So who do you think are the top 3 Manchester United Champions League goal scorers of all time? Ronaldo is not it, because we're not counting his goals that he didn't score for Manchester United. So we're going off goals scored for Manchester United in the Champions League. Remember, while you're just typing that away, 40% off with Boohoo Man. I'm wearing it. Boohoo Man Active range, loads of stuff like this. If you're thinking about getting out there playing football or running about, it's lovely weather, it's starting to turn, it's spring into action with Boohoo Man Active. You can get 40% off. Check out the link in the video description and use the code United Stand at checkout. Thanks as always to Boohoo Man. Love the support they give the channel and I love the interaction they have with you, giving you up these questions. So let me just have a quick look in the chat before we move on with the show and give you the latest news. A lot of people saying Rooney. A lot of people saying happy birthday Pogba. Vinet's got it right. I can tell you that the order is, and I will give you the goals total as well. It's third place Ryan Giggs with 24 goals. It's second place Wayne Rooney with 31 goals. And it's first place Ruud van Nistelrooy with 35 goals in the Champions League for Manchester United. I think Ruud gets, if you're a certain age, Ruud van Nistelrooy is very much respected by United fans, but the brilliance of him sometimes goes a little bit unnoticed. He was absolutely prolific for the time that we had him, and he is our all-time Champions League top goal scorer with 35 goals. So well done to Ruud van Nistelrooy. Of course, if you do combination goals, it's Ronaldo, but Manchester United Champions League goals, it's Ruud. Anyway, let's hope Ronaldo bags some tonight. Can't wait for that. But let's start off with the news show. So we're going to talk about the striker situation first of all, and what is a bit of a United transfer panic. Now, I was speaking to somebody about this morning because there was another story about Harry Kane. So had a little bit of a chat with them and said, look, what's the situation with Harry Kane? We know that United want to buy a striker. It was said yesterday that Ronaldo is in agreement that we need to buy a young striker. So what's this Harry Kane story? And basically what I was told is that United would love to buy Harry Kane. They're in love with Harry Kane. Remember when Romano said that about someone? No, they would love to. That was about Sancho. Man United would love to buy Harry Kane. He's a big shirt seller. He's a very good. He's a world-class striker. But the problem Manchester United have around Harry Kane is that effectively he would cost them way more than Lewandowski would. And Man United probably would prefer Lewandowski over Harry Kane, even though Lewandowski's 4 years older. The other problem that you've got is that for Harry Kane to come to United, Ronaldo's got to go. For Ronaldo to go, you've got to be out the Champions League. And none of these things, it's like what we were talking about Lewandowski last week. It doesn't work. United are interested in Lewandowski. United would like to sign Harry Kane. But you'd have to have them here at the same time as Ronaldo, because Lewandowski would only come if we're in the Champions League and Ronaldo won't leave if we're in the Champions League. If we're not in the Champions League and Ronaldo leaves, Lewandowski wouldn't come. So basically, Ronaldo's got to go for us to bring in a Harry Kane, which would mean we're in the Europa League, which queries the point that Harry Kane wants to leave Spurs to win trophies. That's his whole reason to leave Spurs. But if we're in the Europa League and Spurs are in the Europa League, is he just coming for money? What are you coming for? And also, there's still the slim possibility that Harry Kane could be in the Champions League with Spurs and United could be in the Europa League that way as well. And of course, the big thing for United is this would absolutely use up 90% of their transfer budget to sign Harry Kane. So I was told this morning I wouldn't expect Harry Kane to come to Manchester United, but what I was told is the situation he would come to United would be if United are in the Europa League, Ronaldo goes, you buy Harry Kane and you spend 90% of your transfer budget on him. That's the only scenario, and is that the right scenario? And we discussed that last night. Probably doesn't work for me. Time says tear down Old Trafford. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Gary Neville has come out and said that United should tear down Old Trafford and build a state-of-the-art stadium. We will talk about that in a bit, but we've got some news to bring you around transfers as well first. Massive game for Manchester United. Don't forget the watch along, and we've got the road trip with Adam this afternoon as well. Really excited for this tonight. It really is sink or swim tonight, isn't it? You know, I think our season is not going to end the way we want it to, but do you want your season to be over on March the 15th? I mean, at least push it back another month. I'm sure we'll probably get knocked out in the quarterfinals or maybe the semi-finals if we're lucky, but at least get there. Let's not end it in bloody mid-March. Sounds like we're turning United into All-Star Football Club before they retire, says Slow Sports News. So yeah, I mean, away from the phone call I had with Harry Kane, my feeling about Manchester United from what I see, what I hear, is that the striker situation is very much like the managerial situation. Now, there's a story coming out today that Ajax are looking at bringing Ronald Koeman back as their manager and Ten Hag will leave, but there's also a story that PSG are looking at Ten Hag as well. So I really hope United get Ten Hag because I think it means that we'll keep Rangnick and he'll be above Ten Hag, and I think that's the way for the club to go. I'm desperate for that to happen. But I think also the striker situation, we know Pochettino's the favourite. We know the club are desperate to spill their propaganda and spin the fan base to want Pochettino. It's a mess. It's a mess. United basically want to give the job to Pochettino, but they realise it's not going to be received very well. So they're panicking. They're like, oh my God, this is not what we expected to happen. And, you know, so they're panicking about the managerial situation, and they've got a big decision to make. Do they go with what everybody thinks is the right choice, or do they go what the minority think is the right choice, which is Pochettino? So they're panicking. United are panicking, and they're trying to figure a way out that they can spin this to the way they want it to go, or do they go with what they think, what the fans, you know, it's a mess. But the striker situation's a mess as well. We know we want a striker in the summer, but they've got absolutely no idea what striker they want because they don't know what's going to happen in the summer. It's the same with Pogba, it's the same with the manager situation. They're very good at talking about the big plan they've got in the summer, and all they'll tell you is, we're doing a big search, it's going to be a big summer for us, but it's the middle of March and they don't know what they're doing, and which is almost the tagline for United's board over the last 10 years. We don't know what we're doing, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what's going on with the manager situation because the manager they want to go with, nobody really wants. So they're panicking about that. They don't know what's happening in the summer with the midfield if Pogba goes. They don't know what they're going to do about that. And they know they need a striker, but they've got no idea what to do because if they knew Ronaldo was going to stay, they'd probably go for a Nunes or a Jonathan David, or hopefully a really well scouted, you know, maybe an Adeyemi from the Swiss league, who may well be going to Dortmund anyway. Maybe Rangnick knows a striker that's about £25 million who's going to be the next big thing. You can do that if you're keeping Ronaldo, but they don't know whether they're keeping Ronaldo because we don't know whether we're going to be in the Champions League next year. And then if Ronaldo goes, do you get two strikers? Do you get a young striker and a replacement for Ronaldo? Do you just go for one? I wouldn't be surprised if next season we start the season with Martial back and Rashford as our front two. I would not be surprised if that happened because I think this trust that this board is in any way prepared for the summer is naive. Now, if I was in charge, or Rangnick had anything to say on it, or you were in charge, you'd have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. So Ronaldo stays, you get the young striker. Easy work. Ronaldo goes, what do? Do we bring Martial back and get another striker? Do we bring Martial back and get a younger striker still? Do we sell Martial and go for two strikers? I would have every scenario sorted. So Ronaldo stays, we get this young striker. Ronaldo goes, we bring two strikers in. Ronaldo goes, we bring Martial back in, and we bring a younger striker in. I'd have options for all three. I'd have them ready to go. And I don't think we have. I don't think we have got it all ready to go as well. And I think the big problem is that Ronaldo hasn't told the club what he's doing in the summer. At the moment, he's probably like, I'm here for next year. But if we're in the Europa League, that will change, I believe. So United need to plan at least 3 outcomes up front. And the reality is we're never very good at planning. We're very good at focusing on one thing and one thing only. You know, Man United's board could never cook a roast dinner. Because you've got to have the meat in the oven, you've got to be working on your potatoes, you've got to be working on your veg, and you've got to be working on your supplementary things like your bread sauce or your stuffing or whatever. United could never cook a roast dinner. They cook you a good chicken roast or a nut roast if you're vegetarian, because they just focus on the oven. But they're rubbish at focusing on lots of other things. And let's not forget, it's the managerial situation, it's the striker situation, it's the midfield situation, it's the CDM situation. Everywhere you look at United, every little bit of business we've got to do in the summer at the moment, it's panic. CDM, they want Declan Rice, but if we're not in Europe and he might go to Chelsea or Man City. Pogba goes, are we bringing Donny back or are we getting a replacement? Rashford, are we going to move him on or are we going to keep him? We're going to get a winger up front. It's everywhere you look, centre-back, everywhere you look for United, they are not prepped for this summer at all. And it's just noise, absolute noise. And I do worry about it because I think that there's so many, it's such a key summer. And if you're Man City or you're Liverpool or you're Chelsea, you just focus on, we just need this. He can go very, very structured, and they've probably been planning it for months. With United, it is a concern. And of course, that's only my perception on things, but I can't see for the life of me how we're prepared for this summer at all. We'll see how it pans out. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised. Considering next season we could be a Europa League team, why would it not be Rashford and Martial as our striker options? I wouldn't be surprised if we go back to that at all. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I don't for 1 minute think that we're prepped at all. I don't think we're prepped for this summer. And the scary thing is, how could we be? We don't even know what the manager is going to be. And we're looking at 2 different managers who've got two very different ideas on how things should work. United's board is going into meltdown this summer, says PJ. I think the worst thing they can do, PJ, before we move on, is you bring in Poch, who says, I'll get the best out of Martial and Rashford and Harry Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka and all these players that we know probably aren't quite good enough. And he'll also recommend 2 bad signings. And then next season, we'll be doing exactly what we are. Remember what I said in January? I said this Manchester United side is going to get worse over the next 18 months. The scenario is Poch. That's the scenario I always based it off. I think over the next 18 months, things are going to get worse if they continue with this set of players and Pochettino. That's what my prediction was based upon, because I always felt that Woodward had agreed a deal with Pochettino back in November. I always felt that something went on there. If we go down the Ten Hag route with Rangnick, genuinely, I think we could improve over the next 18 months. We're not going to win the title over the next 18 months. We're not going to win the title in the next 3 years, I don't think. But I think we could gradually start to move forward. And, you know, I agree with what PJ said there. The summer's going to be very interesting. I certainly think we will have a summer where people are calling Murta a boss and the Glazers have changed, because I've covered so many transfer windows, as I'm sure you have, and any signing gets hyped up. I mean, look, I've fallen into the trap of Harry Maguire and, you know, other signings. They all get Aaron Wan-Bissaka. You don't look at it logically. You just look at, oh, that's a big signing. That's a shiny new toy. We'll all be excited in the summer, but the reality will bite in September and October. Araujo is a brilliant centre-back, says Mohammed. I can't pronounce his name. Ronald Araujo. I'm going to call him that. He's a Barcelona centre-back. I think he's 22, 23. His contract's coming up in a year. Now, the news out of Spain today is that the offer that he's been given by Barcelona isn't good enough, and he's got more of an offer in the Premier League. Now, if he's coming to the Premier League, I would really like him. I think him and Varane would be a very, very interesting centre-back. Ronald Araujo, who is a Uruguayan centre-back. I think he's 22, plays in Barcelona, and very, very, very good centre-back with a really big future ahead of him. I always feel he'll stay at Barcelona, but I can only give you the news, and the news is this morning out of España and Barcelona is that the offer on the table for him is not as good as the offer on the table from a Premier League club. Now, there is mention of Newcastle, there is mention of other Premier League clubs, but for me, this feels a little bit like a Rangnick deal. I don't think this is the sort of deal that Murta and Fletcher and our scouts would really be all over. This feels like the sort of thing that Rangnick would be recommending. We know we're interested in Akanji, but to be honest with you, if I'm going for Akanji or Araujo, I would go with Araujo because I would go with him because he's younger and I think he's got a higher ceiling. So look, I'd like United to do that deal, but I do think he'll probably end up staying at Barcelona. We'll have to wait and see. Rudiger and Varane would be interesting. I don't think we'll get Rudiger. And I suppose, again, I mean, Rudiger's fantastic. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world, but is he going to be in the decline in the next couple of years? If you look at his age profile, it's similar to Varane. Do you want a younger centre-back? And I think Araujo would be very interesting. I mean, I can't see him not staying at Barcelona because I think Barcelona are building something. They've got Kessie, haven't they now? They've got Kessie on a free this summer. I mean, how we've not been anywhere near that deal, it pisses me off. I loved Kessie when he was at Atalanta. I was on about Kessie when he was at Atalanta years ago. I said, this is a player that could really be good at Manchester United, and we ignore it. And he goes to Milan, and he's done well at Milan, and now he's going to Barcelona, and he's going to Barcelona for free. And you just think, you're telling me that we couldn't have got Kessie to Manchester United over Barcelona? I mean, all right, Barcelona's future probably looks a little bit more bright than ours, but it's still the bloody Premier League, isn't it? We should have been all over that, and we should have been all over that anyway, because a year ago he played against us at Old Trafford and was man of the match for me when AC Milan played us in the Europa League. So I'm disappointed in that, but again, your life as a United fan will have this many times. Fabinho was a player we were talking about 2 years before Liverpool were even sniffing around him. Get him at United. They didn't do it. We could have got him for absolutely nothing, basically about 20 million, and we didn't do it. And Kessie's another player that we should have been all over, and he's free as well. And as a replacement for Pogba, I think Kessie would be brilliant, because to be honest with you, we don't know what's going to happen with Van der Beek, but if Pogba goes and you bring Kessie in, it's a perfect replacement. Absolutely perfect replacement, who can probably do Fred's job better. So you could play Bruno, Kessie and your new holding midfielder as well, with Fred as your backup. It would have been a really good signing. But United next season, we will be playing Fred or McTominay. One of them will be starting in our starting 11 next year, guaranteed. And that for me means that we can't win the league, because they're not good enough to win the league. I think next season we buy a CDM and it's McTominay or Fred with Bruno. That's our midfield three next year. Morning, Mark. Koundé would be ideal with Varane, says Mikael Roach. We won't spend that level of money, unfortunately. We're not going to spend that sort of money on Koundé. I think Sevilla would want 40, 50 million. We won't do that. Joshua Bowater, F1 watch along this weekend with the Liverpool game postponed. Mark, yeah, Joshua, that's not for this channel, obviously, but that's football. I'll be doing the Formula 1 this weekend and FA Cup matches between Middlesbrough, Chelsea and Liverpool against Forest. So big weekend on That's Football this weekend. No game for United this weekend. The big thing I want to see from United over the weekend is Friday morning Champions League draw at 11 o'clock. I'll either be doing it on That's Football or on the United Stand. I want it to be doing on the United Stand because United are still in it. That's what today is all about. Just a little bit more news before we talk about what Gary Neville has said. So, interestingly enough, we have signed another player. We've signed a midfielder. His name is Toby Collier. He's of Brighton. He's 18. He's captained the under-18s and the under-17s, and he plays in the midfield. And Romano has confirmed that this is a done deal. United are going to sign Toby Collier from Brighton, who is 18, midfielder. Very sought-after young player. And I've got to... I go back to Van Gaal. United have been very good at recruiting these types of players ever since Van Gaal was at the club. I don't know whether Van Gaal revolutionised it. I suspect he probably did. It certainly wouldn't have been Moyes. But we have been buying players like this for a very long time. I remember a couple of years ago, we got a lad in from Coventry, and I can't remember his name, and I've never heard of him since. We do this a lot, and it doesn't mean they're going to be successful. So first of all, I would say, look, on paper, he's a very talented young player. Hopefully, he's going to be a player of the future. But if you go back over the last 5 years, we've done this countless times. We bought players in from Europe, we bought them in from England, and I don't know where they are now. So I hope it works. It sounds interesting. He's certainly not going to be a player that's anywhere near the first team for the next 2 or 3 years, but ultimately you've got to look at the next 10 years, and he could be a player that works out really well for Manchester United. So let's see. let's see what happens with that. Paul Pogba 29 today. I did put a tweet out. It did get a lot of interaction. I basically said Paul Pogba 29 today. Where have the years gone? He's been here since he was 23. And where did it all go wrong? To which some people were like going, oh, stop disrespecting Pogba, even though the tweet said I think he's a fantastic player that we didn't get enough out of. I've always been a big fan of Pogba. I was very excited when we bought him. I still think he's got such unique skill traits that he should have torn the Premier League apart. He's physical, he's tall, he's quick, he can dribble, he can pass, he can score, he can assist. He's got everything to be a true legendary Premier League midfielder in the mould of the likes of Vieira, Roy Keane, Steven Gerrard, Yaya Toure. Paul Pogba should have been in that company, and he's not in that company. And the question is why? And I'm a Pogba fan, and I know there's massive Pogba fans, but the funny thing is, you will get people criticising you saying, oh, stop going in on Pogba. I'm actually not going in on Pogba. I'm actually doing the reverse. I believe that Paul Pogba, between the age of 23 and 29 in the Premier League, which is what he's done, should be in the same conversation as a Gerrard or a Vieira or a Keane or a Yaya Toure, and he's not. Why is that? Is it down to his own inconsistency? Is it down to the noise around him with Raiola constantly every year talking about him moving? Has that unsettled him? Is it United's poor recruitment and managerial appointments? I think it's a combination of it all. I think Pogba's got to take some responsibility for his consistency. I think Riola's got to take some responsibility for the upheaval he's caused over the last 4 years especially. And I think United have got to take a large part of the blame as well, because, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for 3 years has stunted everybody. And, you know, we should have got a lot more out of Paul Pogba. I never really had a problem with us paying £89 million for him. I thought he was worth it, but we didn't get enough out of Pogba. And it's definitely time for us to part ways, but, you know, as I said, the profile of the player should have been perfect for the Premier League, and we just never got the best out of him. My personal feeling is, and I've been very vocal about this, we never bought the right player to play with him. When I look at Pogba's best time, I think it's always been with Matic. There was the 3 months under Ollie where it was Matic, Herrera and Pogba. And there was the 3 months where it was Matic, Bruno and Pogba. And it worked. And the constant in that was a prime, well, not prime, but a very good Matic. I don't think we ever had a prime Matic. But we never bought a top-class CDM, and I think it would have made a massive difference to him. We never got that Fabinho. We never got that Rodri. We never got that Michael Carrick. And I think that would have been the key, and that will always be the disappointment for me, is that United have been willing, even in the Sir Alex Ferguson days, he was just very good at winning without. There was always holes in the Sir Alex Ferguson team. We needed a midfielder then. United are always happy to play with holes because it saves the Glazers money, and I think that was the problem for Pogba for me. The club does well, so buying these young lads then feels the need to spend 70-80 million on big names. Why is there no in-between, says Leon. Thank you very much. And we should have bought Kante, says Ram. Look at Pogba along with Kante, he's just next level. We had prime Matic under Mourinho, says Luke. I don't think we did. I don't think we had prime Matic under Mourinho. I felt that Matic was already on the decline when we bought him. What was he, 28? I think he was starting to drop off. I look at Matic at Chelsea especially, and he was a different player then. Players can start to drop off at 28, and I think Matic was starting to drop off, but still better than any CDM we had. Pogba isn't that good. Premiership is too fast for his style of play. Always excuses for Pogba, says Alex Ferguson. And Matic was coming to an end, says Dia. And Pjanic on the streets of Manchester. A year out of his prime when we got him, says Declan Ball in relation to Matic. Pogba, well, look, will Pogba start tonight? We'll have to wait and see. And I just want to also talk about this stadium rebuild. I don't know whether anyone saw it last night. There was an Instagram Live with Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. And Gary Neville was asked about the stadium at Manchester United. And he said, I think we should knock it down. Manchester United should always have a stadium that is at the forefront of world football. And Old Trafford, by the time you've updated it, you've probably spent the same amount you'd spend knocking it down and rebuilding it. I don't disrespect that opinion. I disagree with it, but I don't. Kevin says I'd like to knock him down. I'm surprised he said that as a player that played for the club, as a Mancunian, as somebody is a big fan of the club and also understands the history of the club, I'm very surprised that he would say that. I wouldn't be surprised if a player that didn't really have the connections that Gary Neville has said it. But he's got every right to say that. If he wants a brand new shiny stadium at Old Trafford that, you know, is the envy of the rest of the world, that's absolutely fine. I'd take two issues with it. Under the Glazers, they're never going to build a stadium that's the best in the world anyway. We'll get something like the Emirates. That's what we'll get. They won't go and... If we knock Old Trafford down, if you knock it down, you could build the greatest stadium there's ever been. But it'll cost a lot of money. So that, you know, they'll have an option. Do you want the greatest stadium that's ever been, or do you want one that's good? We'll go for the one that's good. So I wouldn't knock it down for the Glazers anyway, because they wouldn't rebuild it in the way that you'd want it rebuilt. It would just be like the Emirates or something like that, or the Etihad. It wouldn't be the dog's bollocks. So that's why I wouldn't let the Glazers knock it down anyway. And then the main reason for me is that I don't think Old Trafford does need knocking down. You know, I look at video reels from the 60s and you can still recognise it as Old Trafford. It's still very identifiable as the stadium that we have had for decades and decades. And you think back of the history that's been in that club, it still feels, you can still feel the history in Old Trafford when you're around it. You can feel the Busby Babes, you can feel George Best, Bobby Charlton, Dennis Law, you can feel the 80s and the 70s, and you can definitely feel the Sir Alex years. So I wouldn't want to knock that down, because I don't know whether you would feel it anymore. When I went to Wembley as a kid, and I've been to Wembley since, I don't, you know, Wembley, all right, it's the same place, but it doesn't feel the same. So as somebody who's witnessed old stadiums be knocked down and built anew, you can't just go, oh, it's the same place. It's not the same. It's not the same at all. I think you build on top of the South Stand, you renovate, and you don't need to knock it down. I don't believe you need to knock it down. I mean, structures, you know, houses in this country, I don't know whether it's like in your country, there are grade 2 or whatever listed buildings that have been up for thousands of years, and you just keep renovating them and modernising them. So I don't think we need to knock Old Trafford down. You can renovate it, and I think it always must maintain its soul. And they can do that. They can definitely do that. That stadium can be there for another 100 years, easily. It just needs renovation and adaptation, and I don't want to knock it down, no. I don't. I've always thought with our slanted roofs on the other stands as well, that you could build above them as well. So, yeah. And also, most important of all, focus on the team first, as Keevan says. Exactly. Focus on the team first, definitely. I'll do a poll. Somebody said just do a poll, says Nick. Okay, we'll do that. But anyway, how's everyone feeling today in relation to the game? You feeling confident? Let me just... It's early in the morning. It's too early in the morning for a poll. Knock it down. Expand. There we go. So, live chat, Old Trafford, knock it down or expand. Make sure you smash a like on the video, by the way. And remember, Boohoo Man sponsoring the show, 40% off with the code United Stand through the link in the description. I'm wearing some of their active range today because I went for a walk this morning. Just went around the block to get some milk. So I thought I'd put my Boohoo Man active range on. And I'm going to play some living room football this morning. I've got some nervous energy to build up for today. I'm so excited for today. It's going to be a long day. I will be doing TUSFC on Twitch at 3 o'clock. And we will have a road trip going up at around 2 o'clock as well. And then tonight from about 6:45 we'll be live building up for this massive game. I'm full of it today. I might even go in the garden and smack the ball around a bit. So do you think when Old Trafford South Stand will be extended, we will be... there will be an update for the Lego stand? Big things to worry about there, Arjen. Big things to worry about there. I'm sure Lego would do that, but no, I think we've got to rebuild the team first, of course. And there's. I almost felt like the news show today was the hardest one I've ever done because there is panic around the striker situation. It's logical, but even in my head, I'm thinking whatever, that can wait. It's all about tonight. I think everything is about tonight. I was going to do a video. I was going to film a head-to-head today, the next two players that we're going to do. And I was like, I can't do it. My headset, my mind's not there. Tonight is so big. Like, if we lose tonight, oh God, what? the player, these players as well, they're weak mentality players. If we lose tonight, forget top 4. Their heads are going to drop ridiculously. They're not going to be able to deal with it. They won't. They'll drop more points. If we win today, I think we might, I don't think we'll get top 4 anyway, but I think it stays alive. We've got to get the boost of a win today. The fans are going to be massive, absolutely huge. I think big game players like Ronaldo will turn up. Hopefully Bruno, Pogba, Sancho. Hopefully we've got enough big game players tonight. I can see tonight being a special night. I can't predict it, but I can see United getting it right tonight. I can almost see tomorrow everyone's going to be on about, we're going to win the Champions League, because that's what happens, isn't it? But I can see that happening tonight. It needs to happen tonight. We need to be in that draw on Thursday. I'll be absolutely gutted if we go out tonight. Absolutely gutted. Let's get the job done. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. I think it's going to be a bit of Sue, but I tell you what, I haven't worn this for a while. Let's hope it brings a little bit of luck. You haven't seen that for a while, have you? Adidas did it a few years ago. Replica of the 68 kit that we won when we won the Champions League in 68. So let's hope it brings us a bit of luck. I'm going to wear it tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all in a bit. Have a great day. I'm really excited. Tune into the watch along tonight. I will be on TUSFC at 3 o'clock on Twitch as well, Goldbridge TV. Have a good day. Check out Boohoo Man 40%. Get yourself some active range, and let's see what happens in relation to tonight. Bring it on. Sue you later. I'm not going to sue you later. I meant to say see, but